What's going on? Hope you're doing awesome. This is going to be a quick tutorial at a request to do a coverage on mono plugins versus stereo plugins. And this is a really good request because this is very important in mixing. The main difference, let me first discuss the difference between mono and stereo. Mono means that you're hearing the same amount of information on the left channel and the right channel. So you're not hearing a spatial difference. Another way of explaining it is, say like a vocal is recorded with one microphone. Well, you're going to hear, because there's only one channel, you're going to hear that same amount of information in the left channel and the right channel by default until you start panning. So usually the vocal is going to go directly up the center, or say a bass instrument is going to go up the center unless it's a stereo instrument. And I guess maybe the best way to do that is to show an example. So here's the piece we're going to be looking at.
I saw a monster. Listen, gather around. A monster. Listen.
Okay, and we're going to be focusing on this vocal here.
I saw a monster.
So this is actually, I set this up to be a mono plugin and a mono channel. And how you can tell is, in Logic, there's just one little circle. If there's two circles, it's stereo. But you can also look over here on the stereo bus and see that the left and the right channel have the same amount of information. Watch.
I saw a monster.
That's the quickest way to tell if something's mono. Now, if we change this up to stereo, we make this stereo, which it is, you'll see that there's a difference between the left and the right channel.
I saw a monster.
Hear that? So what the mono plugin is doing is it's leaving everything directly up the center or in one spot. It's not going to be wide like a stereo plugin. So think of it as being like a pinpoint or a laser focus. So if we change this back, right, and this is mono, when we pan this, the reverb effect, which is what we're looking at, will stay exactly where you point the pan. And it'll be like almost like a laser focus. So watch this as I pan.
I saw a monster.
Actually, let's take this back to mono.
I saw a monster. A monster. A monster. I saw a monster. A monster. A monster.
Hear how it stays mono? Now if we switch this to stereo, you're going to hear the difference.
I saw a monster. A monster.
Hear how even when we pan it, you're hearing the reverb bounce off the left ear and the right ear, or the left channel and the right channel. It's wider. It feels like you're in the space. And that's the same for like if you have a delay. Now the reason I made this mono is because I wanted to leave space in the left and the right channels in the stereo field for other things, right? So if we make this mono again,
I saw.
it's still standing stereo. Let's make it mono. Okay.
I saw a monster.
I have this other vocoder going, if you listen back, and that is playing in the stereo field.
I saw a monster.
Hear that?
I saw a monster. A monster. A monster.
And that I have taking up the left and the right side. So I've got this width going super wide, right? So this is really, you know, the wide left and right stereo image, and then I'm leaving this clean and mono right up the center so it's not muddying up the mix, so you can hear this vocoder better.
I saw a
Right?
monster.
So if we make this stereo, you don't hear this as clearly. At least I don't.
I saw a monster. A monster.
Sounds really cool in headphones, but when you're playing back, you're not going to hear the separation of this vocal and then this vocoder. Now let's play it back in the mix with this being stereo, okay?
I saw a monster. Listen, gather around. A monster. Listen, gather around. A monster.
And if we make it mono,
I saw a monster. Listen, gather around. A monster. Listen, gather around. A monster. Hey.
it's really subtle, but if you're listening, say, on headphones or on really good speakers, you can hear that it's a little bit clearer. You hear this vocal right up the center, and it just takes your focus right to that, and you can hear these other things going on in the mix a lot clearer. Let's see if I can give another example of what like a mono or a stereo plugin could be. I have this set mono as well, but let's look at a different effect. Let's say we made this a delay, right? So let's go into Delay Designer, and let's leave this mono. Let's just pick a cool, let's go slow pan. Let's see what this sounds like.
Listen, gather around.
Okay.
Listen, gather around. Listen, gather around.
Okay, so this is, the channel is mono, and the delay is set in mono. And a lot of times with delays, you really want to hear the wideness of it. You want to hear the space going left and right, but sometimes you just want to leave it right up the center. And this is an example of the mono plugin. Listen to the difference here.
Listen, gather around. Listen, gather around. Hey, everyone!
Hear that difference? Hear how the mono is really, really narrow right up the center, and as soon as I switch it to stereo, you hear it clearly on the left and right side.
Listen, gather around. Listen, gather around. Hey, everyone!
Let's hear what dual mono sounds like.
Listen, gather around. Listen, gather around. Hey, everyone!
Sounds like just mono.
Listen, gather around. Listen, gather around. Listen, gather around. Hey, everyone! Listen, gather around. Listen, gather around. Listen, gather around. Listen, gather around. Hey, everyone!
Hear that difference? Hear how when it's stereo it goes left to right, and when it's mono,
Listen, gather around. Listen.
okay, so dual mono is the same thing as mono. It's just sending both the left and the right channel right up the center. So that, I think, just explains it pretty quickly. So a mono plugin is going to sound mono, and a stereo plugin, you're going to hear the space. You're going to hear the difference between the left and the right channels. It's going to take up more space in your stereo field. I hope that answers your question. If it doesn't, feel free to ask me in the comments below. And feel free to like and subscribe, and have a great one wherever you are. All right, take care.